This is a Red FM Vancouver podcast. Make sure you hit subscribe for more great content. For further info, log on to redfm.ca.
ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ BC ਹਾਊਸਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਆਨਰੇਬਲ ਸਲੀਨਾ ਰੋਬਿਨਸਨ ਜੁੜ ਗਏ ਨੇ। Minister, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, first of all, tell me that you're bringing about some changes. Can a landlord evict a tenant now who has stopped paying rent?
We have done a number of things. We have a new order that is coming into effect in the coming week. We are maintaining the moratorium on rent increases and evictions for non-payment of rent, but we are enabling other notices to end tenancy to resume. In addition to that, we are extending the temporary rent supplement until the end of August, so landlords can continue to benefit from this program.
The most important thing at this point of time for the landlords and the tenants is that if a person who's not paying his rent or her rent, non-payment of rent, can that person be evicted or not?
Not yet. We recognize that COVID has had significant challenges on thousands of British Columbians. And so we've had over 82,000 people apply for the temporary rent supplement. We're still one of the very few provinces that is doing this program. Only, I think, a couple of provinces put this in place. And again, we want to make sure that landlords get some rent. The other thing that I think that's really interesting, and I think most people are surprised to learn, is that over 80% of tenants have been paying full rent, and 12% have been paying partial rent. And so what that tells us is that British Columbians have been making their best efforts, even when they're financially strapped, to keep landlords whole.
Mm-hmm. And is there any other group of tenants that can be evicted, for example, who has been given a notice prior to COVID?
Yes. If they were given, that's an excellent question. If they were given a notice prior to COVID, then that will come into effect as soon as the order is made. This is a notice, I guess, a period of notice. So next week is when these changes will be coming into effect. And so starting next week, I guess it's July 1st, people will be able to take action where there's been an order prior to COVID.
Minister, I don't know about this 80%, 12% figures where it's coming from, but we are bombarded with telephone calls coming from the landlords that my tenant is not paying rent or not paying full rent or only paying, $100 a month or whatever. When will be non-paying tenants can be evicted?
Well, we're working on a program to put a program in place or a framework that will require landlords to work with tenants to repay rent that is owing over a reasonable period of time. We've been very clear that tenants who have not experienced financial difficulties are expected to pay rent, and also that tenants will be responsible for outstanding rent when the ban on evictions for non-payment is lifted. We appreciate that landlords have really, have been challenged as well as tenants. Like, this is a whole of province impact, right? Like every community has been impacted by COVID. And so just like Dr. Henry has talked about slowly turning up the dial on our activity and our interaction and our economy, we're doing the same thing around tenancy issues. So for right now, we are lifting the ban on other issues, the eviction ban on things not related to non-payment of rent, previous orders, or if somebody has purchased a property and there's a tenant, you'll be able to give notice. So it's owner use. So those sorts of things you'll be able to act on. But for non-payment of rent, we're putting a framework in place because we believe that tenants still are responsible to their landlord, and we want to make sure that we can keep everyone as whole as possible. We are all in this together, and we have to come through this together. And so creating a framework is really important to us.
Are you setting up a certain procedure or some guidelines, or there are some kind of measures in place that outstanding rent can be collected by the landlords?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. We're working with the residential tenancy branch to put together some sort of framework, and that work is continuing, that will help landlords and tenants through the next phase. Just like our activity with the economy and through COVID is phased, so too is the tenancy relationship. So the next phase will be how to work through with tenants, and for tenants to work with landlords on a repayment schedule.
I understand that you are giving this rental supplement till August. Please tell us in simple English that those people who want to receive this supplement, they have to apply again, or it will continue as it is?
It will continue as it is. So those who are already on the program, they don't need to reapply. They will receive, however, an email just confirming that they're still continuing to live in their home. And if there are additional people who have not taken advantage, who qualify, they're welcome to apply for the program through July and August. We will certainly take in new applications.
Minister, I want to bring it to your knowledge that there are some homeowners still who have not consented to their tenant's request for rental supplement because they had an illegal suite. What will happen to them?
That's a very good question, and we are not... if someone has an illegal suite, that doesn't matter. No one is going to tell anyone about it. This is about supporting renters and supporting landlords. And so I want to assure those folks that this is not something that they need to worry about, and I encourage them to please take advantage so that we can support the tenant and support the landlord so that they can remain as whole as possible. And we are not communicating whether suites are legal or illegal, and they don't have to report whether it is legal or illegal.
Minister, I'm very much puzzled that why is there still a moratorium on eviction due to non-payment of rent when CERB and rental subsidy is being paid out monthly, regularly, to cover those expenses?
We have been in this place of moratorium on evictions for non-payment of rent since March 30th. And again, we're looking to make sure that we have turning that dial carefully as we start to open up our economy. So we're doing the same thing around the tenant landlord relationship. So for right now, we are lifting the moratorium on evictions for other issues, other causes, and allowing those to go forward. That order will come out next week, so that if there's been a previous order or if there's an owner use of suite, that can go forward and people can provide notice and for eviction. And we're working on a framework. We want to make sure that we have a framework in place that keeps everyone whole, that works for the landlord, that works for the tenants, so that there is the opportunity to make rent payments that are owed. And again, we are just coming back into an economic activity that really has been very challenged for all of us. All of us have been in this together for 3 months. And we want to maintain good relationships and make sure that everyone can get through this together.
Mm-hmm. Well, the success of your program depends on how fair it is. Now, there are no repercussions for those who have those landlords who are keeping the rental supplement and keep charging their tenants also.
Well, the expectation is that people can, this is about contributing towards their rent responsibilities. Mm-hmm. And so yes, they are getting the supplement, but the supplement doesn't cover all of rent. It's a supplement. It's to help people pay rent. And so we recognize, again, that thousands of British Columbians still aren't working and may not be working for some months yet. And so we want to make sure that everyone is as supported as best can be, and that it is going to take us a fair bit of time to come through this. But again, we have been in this together. Dr. Henry has been really clear that we are in this together, and it means that we have to come out of this together. And that's something that is very important, I know, to British Columbians. And it is why I think we have done as well as we have, that British Columbians have worked well together to get through what I think has been some of the most challenging and unprecedented time that I've ever experienced in my life. And I think all British Columbians would agree that this has been completely unprecedented. And the only way we are going to get through this is to continue to work together to make sure that we are being kind to each other, as Dr. Henry likes to remind us, and being calm and being safe. And so we want to keep that, I think, in the forefront, because that is how we will get through this.
No, that's fine. But the expectation was that you're lifting that moratorium placed on the non-payment people who are not paying their rent. They still cannot be evicted. Is that correct?
They still not yet. We're working on a framework to help, again, keep people whole. And I know, and that we got from Landlord BC as well as the Urban Development Institute. They were the ones that did the numbers on how many people are paying rent, and it's well over 80% of tenants are paying their rent in full, 12% being partial, and so that's a good sign. I think it's a sign of good faith that people are doing their best to get through all of this. There's still some work for us to do. I think collectively we want to put a framework in place so that landlords can collect the owed rent over time. I think that landlords want that. And we also need to recognize that there are many tenants who aren't working. And so how do we support all of those elements of this very important relationship is very important to British Columbians. They want a fair system, and they recognize that we are going through a very difficult time. And again, if we can do this together, then it will be the best outcome for everybody.
Minister Robinson, thank you very much for making this announcement in this program. Anything you'd like to add into whatever you're telling us about this program in closing?
Well, I guess I just want to leave with the words that Dr. Henry says every time she signed off, just how important it is for us to all be kind, to be calm, and at the end of the day, to really be safe. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Minister Robinson, Selina Robinson, ਹਾਊਸਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸਨ। ਹੁਣ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅੱਜ ਅਨਾਉਂਸਮੈਂਟ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਰਾਇਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਜਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇ ਰਹੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਉੱਥੇ, ਪਰ ਕਿਰਾਇਆ ਦੇਣਾ ਬੰਦ ਕਰ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹਾਲੇ ਕੱਢਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ। ਨਾਟ ਯੈਟ, ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ। ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਅਨਾਉਂਸਮੈਂਟ ਆ, ਇਹ ਅਨਾਉਂਸਮੈਂਟ ਤੋਂ ਉਮੀਦ ਰੱਖੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਅਨਾਉਂਸਮੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਇਹ ਮੋਰਾਟੋਰੀਅਮ ਚੁੱਕ ਦੇਣਗੇ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿਰਾਇਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕੱਢ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਫਿਰ ਤਾਂ ਇਹੀ ਸੀ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿਰਾਇਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕੱਢ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦੇ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਲੇ ਜੇ ਉਹ ਕਿਰਾਇਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੀ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਇਵੈਕਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ, ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿਰਾਏ 'ਤੇ ਰਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਲੋਕ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ $300 ਜਾਂ $500 ਦਾ ਭੱਤਾ ਮਿਲਦਾ, ਉੱਥੋਂ ਸਪਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਮਿਲਦਾ, ਉਹ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਰਹੇਗਾ। ਉਹ ਅਗਸਤ ਤੱਕ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਰਹੇਗਾ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਅਪਲਾਈ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਈਮੇਲ ਆਏਗੀ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਭੱਤਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਅਸੀਂ ਅਗਸਤ ਦੇ ਅਖੀਰ ਤੱਕ ਦੇਈ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ। ਇਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ। ਅਤੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ 80% ਲੋਕ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਦੇਈ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। 80% ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ 80% ਲੋਕ ਕਿਰਾਇਆ ਦੇਈ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। 12% ਲੋਕ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਜਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਅੱਧਾ ਪਚੱਧਾ ਕਿਰਾਇਆ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ। ਇਹ ਅੰਕੜੇ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਲੈਂਡਲੋਰਡਸ BC ਨੇ ਕੱਢੇ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਚਿੱਠੀ ਆਈ। ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਵੀ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿਰਾਇਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕੱਢ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ? ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ। ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ COVID-19 ਤੋਂ, ਕਰੋਨਾ ਵਾਇਰਸ ਫੈਲਣ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਨੋਟਿਸ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਹੋਏ ਸੀ, ਕੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੱਢ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਜੇ ਉਹ ਕਿਰਾਇਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਤਾਂ? ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਯੈਸ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਵੈਕਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ। ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਨੋਟਿਸ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ, ਜਦੋਂ ਹਾਲੇ ਮਾਰਚ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਦਾ। ਸੋ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਹਾਲੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਦੇ ਲਈ ਫਰੇਮਵਰਕ ਤਿਆਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਹਾਂ, ਦੂਜੀ ਗੱਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਦੱਸੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਰਾਇਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ, ਉਹਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿਰਾਇਆ ਜਮ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਾ, ਆਊਟਸਟੈਂਡਿੰਗ ਕਿਰਾਇਆ ਦੇਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਹੋਣਾ, ਉਹ ਮਕਾਨ ਮਾਲਕ ਉਗਰਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ। ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਉਗਰਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਫਿੱਟ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਗਰਾਉਣਾ ਸੌਖਾ ਹੋਵੇ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਗਰਾਉਣਾ ਇੰਨਾ ਸੌਖਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਗਾ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਟੈਨੈਂਸੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਗਰਾਇਆ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਟੈਨੈਂਸੀ ਐਕਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਪ੍ਰੋਵੀਜ਼ਨ। ਉਹ ਇਹ ਆ ਪ੍ਰੋਵੀਜ਼ਨ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਚਿੱਠੀ ਲਿਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਨੋਟਿਸ ਦੇ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਔਰ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਮਾਲ ਕਲੇਮ ਕੋਰਟ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਇਸ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੇ ਮੈਜਰ ਨੇ, ਪਰ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਐਫਰਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਫਰਜ਼ ਕਰੋ ਉਹ ਮਕਾਨ ਮਾਲਕ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿਰਾਏਦਾਰ ਆ ਉਹ ਮਕਾਨ ਮਾਲਕ ਦਾ ਕਿਰਾਇਆ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਭੱਜ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸਮਾਨ ਪਿਕਅਪ 'ਚ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਅਤੇ ਨਿਕਲ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਲੱਭਦੇ ਰਹੋ, ਕਿੱਥੇ ਨੋਟਿਸ ਭੇਜੋਗੇ? ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕਿਆ ਕਈਆਂ ਨਾਲ। ਸੋ ਉਹਦੇ ਲਈ ਕੋਈ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਪ੍ਰੋਵੀਜ਼ਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕਿਰਾਇਆ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਅਗਰਾਉਣਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ। ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਟੈਨੈਂਸੀ ਐਕਟ ਤਾਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਹੀ ਆ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ। ਖੈਰ, ਅੱਜ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮਹੱਤਵਪੂਰਨ ਗੱਲ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ $300 ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ $500 ਤੱਕ ਦਾ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਪਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਮਿਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ, ਉਹ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਰਹੇਗਾ ਅਗਸਤ ਦੇ ਅਖੀਰ ਤੱਕ।
Thank you for listening to another Red FM podcast. Don't forget to hit subscribe and check out our Red FM Canada YouTube channel. For further info, log on to our Red FM social media platforms or visit redfm.ca.